Morning. Today I'm here with Dewayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School. A lot of y'all have probably seen him. A lot of people that I talk to and know today are scared to death of rejection. Now, when I say rejection, a person my age, the first thing that comes to mind is dating. But people are scared of rejection in other aspects of life. Dwayne's my mentor. I've spent all summer with him. And I got this apprenticeship by emailing him out of the blue. I asked, hey, I'll come work for free on the weekends, because at the time I was still in college, and if you'll teach me a couple things. Well, my first weekend here, showed up when I said I was going to show up. I worked my butt off, and he offered me the apprenticeship. Me personally, I am more scared of asking myself what if for the rest of my life than I am to worry about rejection. If I had never emailed him and asked if I can come work to learn, I'd be in a butcher shop right now. More than likely, because that's what I did before I came out here. And as far as the relationship aspect of it, you're going to be stuck asking yourself, what if? What if you had asked her out? If you're a female, what if you had asked him out? What if you had made an effort to spend more time with somebody? Or with learning new skills. Say you wanted to learn woodworking. What if you never spend that time and effort attempting to learn because you're so scared you're going to fail?
Well, if I can add to it, he emailed and asked, and then he emailed again, and he texted again, and he asked about an apprenticeship, and I said no. Off the bat, I said no, just because I didn't know him, I didn't know anybody in this. I wasn't ready for that, and it was but then he kept contacting me and saying he would come up. He lives a couple hours south and help on the weekends and stuff. And so I agreed to that. I said, well, I'll get a chance to see who he is and see if he can work. And he was just so anxious, and he kept, so I'm like, come on up, and you come on up and work. I'm not going to turn down a young man who's begging to work. So he came up and he worked. And after we worked for a while, a few weekends, and he came up, then the subject of the apprenticeship was broached again, and we worked it out. Sometimes on jobs, on apprenticeships, and on the relationship like he's talking about, if you just asked one time and the answer is no, and you don't ask again, you don't approach again, then it's still going to be no, because people are not going to take it that you're actually serious, that you really want it. And I've ran into that with, others that have come here to help. They asked, and I said yes very easily, and they took it, and then they didn't have the sand that he had, and it didn't work out like he has, because they didn't actually really want it that bad. And so sometimes, whether it's a relationship with another person, or sometimes if it's an apprenticeship or a job, if you really, really want it, you're going to show that you really, really want it by pursuing it really, really hard. And again, if you're not willing to pursue it that hard, then you probably don't want it that bad. And if you don't want it that bad and they did give it to you, then when it turns out to be not what you want, or not what you were looking for, not quite what you thought it was, you're going to bail.
And that just leaves both parties hung out to dry. And the way I look at life, whenever anything comes to an end, be it job, relationship, no matter what it is. It started on good terms. I want it to end on good terms. I don't want nobody from any party leaving an interaction feeling like they got sold a false bill of sale, because that just creates bitterness and trouble and problems down the road. You got anything else to add?
No. If you're going in to this like Connor did, and you want to learn, and you're asking for an apprenticeship, you're asking for a job with the understanding that I'm not a pro, I'm coming into it to learn, then maintain that humility and that attitude. I'm here to learn, be teachable, and be willing to be wrong, even when you think you're not wrong. You know, except for maybe in the higher end markets where they have headhunters, you know, that go out and do this, nobody's going to come ask you to come work for them as a rule. Maybe in a community where word gets around. But if you go to a guy and ask, will you teach me? Will you invest your time and your experience and your energy? Will you invest in me? Then don't forget that. The dude doesn't owe you anything. All right, the guy doesn't owe you anything. The gal doesn't owe you anything. You came to them and asked for help. So this is where you start in this industry. You humbly go in and you hammer and you hammer and hammer until you get that little position, that little crack, that little tiny foot in the door, and then you just go above and beyond and you prove yourself invaluable. Because it's not about the money, because you're not going to make much money. It's not about the prestige. You didn't bring any prestige to the game. It's about learning and growing into it. And it's still doable in this day and age. And you can still get the life that you want, the life that's outside of the mainstream, and you can still live the dream. You can still live the dream. All right.
Well, thank you, Dewayne, for helping me out with this. This has been Connor, another Life of a Drifter. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, turn your notifications on for whenever I put something else new up. Y'all be careful, be safe, be polite. Y'all have a good one.